All right, Robert Dietrich, patient, and Steve Anderson, managing director, managing partner at Renue Health Care, joins us. Hey, Robert, welcome to the Todd Herman Show, and thank you for being a listener all these years. And I'm going to give you a free subscription so you can be a viewer, check us out on YouTube, all that. But welcome, man. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, excellent. Glad to be here and glad to share.
So, how did you learn about Renue? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, I was trying to get in on one of those trips that you offered, a group down there.
Yeah.
And because it was just a constant going to the chiropractor, going to a massage therapist,
Yeah.
alternating them about every week. I was at the chiro every 2 weeks, and in between, then I was at the massage therapist, and I just couldn't get out of pain anymore. And I kept listening, and I'm taking my krill, I'm taking my
Yeah.
I have my coffee in the morning, bone frog, of course.
Thank you,
Well,
dude. Wow.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, I was just at my wit's end. Then it started getting into my sleep and messing with my sleep. So we did some MRI, we did some X-ray, and then figured out this is probably the only way I can do this in a natural sense. I didn't want to go to I'm not I don't even take Tylenol,
Good.
but and just try to stay as natural and healthy as I can, getting older. But that was the answer. So got a hold of Renue. They punched me in with Kathleen, who was a sort of liaison to get me all dialed in and get all my medical, get things into Renue. Then we had a couple of teleconferences, and it just all made sense that, yeah, let's try this out. I heard your shoulder and I repairs, other people's testimony. So it mostly for me is common sense, is listen to common sense, listen to others that have been there, walk that walk, and then try it out. And so
thank you for doing that.
Amazing.
So what was life like for you? Is this arthritic pain? Was it joint pain and like limitations on movement? Probably what was life like?
Yeah, well, it was tough. Yeah. I mean, I'm a construction guy, plumbing contractor, remodeling, building homes, things like that. So it's very physical, got the kids involved. Thank God for youth. I let them do all the hard struggle lifting stuff, started backing away from that. Yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. Everything hurt. At the end of the day, I usually do a little pickup thing around the house. Little projects are always going on. I stopped doing that, and I just had to go sit down and rest. And then I tell you, yeah, I mean, it was debilitating in my neck. I had 180 million put there because of degenerating discs and other injuries. Surfed a lot, construction, dirt bike riding, all the stuff that beats your body up. And those little things are coming back to haunt me. And degenerative disc down my lower spine in my L bracket area, and then my knees. And so one knee was salvageable, thank God. And the stem cells are doing wonders there, and no pain and all of that. But my right knee was so far gone as far as no cartilage and everything. So, but I'm actually coming back down there for the knee surgery.
Awesome.
So Renue is amazing in a way of resourcing, and if they can't do it, they refer you to somebody that's qualified and expert that can.
I love it. I love it. And there's a lot more to this story that is, I think, miraculous. And that, let's pause there for a second. And A, number one, thank you for trusting me. And B, thank you for going down and bringing back this proof. Steve, how does this all work? I know you're not a doctor, but you know this stuff as cold as anybody. How did it all work in Robert's body that you were able to deliver this help? I mean, I've talked about what the stem cells do, but you're more eloquent on it.
Yeah, I think what Robert experienced is something that we see a lot of, and that is that in essence the science is pretty simple, really. When we were born, we had a plethora of stem cells in our body, right? And as we get older, they've died and can't regenerate themselves, and so that's why we use what are called allogeneic or donor stem cells that are technically for the big words, they're Wharton's jelly-derived day zero mesenchymal stem cells is technically the name of them, but
I'll
they
let you
come
say
from
it that way, dude.
What's that?
I'll let you say it that way.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast. They come from the cord portion after a successful birth. It's really important to us that mama and baby have to be okay, and they're ethically derived. So stem cells have really 3 properties that Robert is experiencing. The first one is that they're incredibly anti-inflammatory in nature, right? So what we see especially in his particular case with the lumbar, you see these kind of facet joints that sit on one side of the spine, and then the discs kind of sit between. And it's kind of like, as these facet joints over time, we see this kind of degeneration, or their ability to hold up that load starts to, they start to fall a little bit. And when they do, it's just like squeezing a balloon, right? That disc has to have somewhere to go. And what it does is, when it gets squeezed, it kind of protrudes out into the nerve bank. And that's what he was experiencing, is this incredible pain that comes from something, poking into your nerve bank. So that anti-inflammatory nature takes out a lot of that inflammation, and we start to see these discs, where the pressure starts to come off them as this inflammation is not kind of holding everything down. Then the second property is this regeneration that takes place, right? So some of those cells start to assign themselves as bone or disc or soft tissue. And so then we start to see this kind of regeneration that happens. So what he's experiencing right now is, because of the time from his treatment, is kind of this anti-inflammatory nature and the regeneration starting to kick in. And that kind of peaks, if you will, around the 6th a month after the actual treatment itself. So
Amazing.
What we say to people is, after 6 months, it is what it is. The benefit that you've gotten is the benefit. Now, in his case, thank God, it's been incredible, right? It's been life-changing in terms of his ability.
Yeah. It's kind of having my life back. Really.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like you said, it's like having your life back. You can do the things that have defined you as a man.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, because even the kids had noticed, like, Dad, you just jumped right out of that van, and and you got this, and you're helping out. And I go, yeah, I feel like amazing. I just feel no pain, and I feel I've got my movement back. It's all about
God.
movement.
Praise God.
It is.
That wasn't it. Your wife went with you.
No, yeah, that was on my trip, unexpectedly, but it was amazing. Yeah, because Steve brought me over, and he says, "Let me show you this." And they were doing that preventative sort of go look at your heart, scan, see what the vessels and inside the heart, outside the heart. Like, really? Wow. And then Dottie had a triple bypass, my wife, what is it, 6 years prior. And so she was just curious of, hey, how's that going? And what is that looking like for me? So electively we said, hey, while we're down here, let's take advantage of that and see what's going on. Yeah, it's good to know things.
Right.
And preemptively, wow, we pivoted at 90 degrees, or just immediately right to the hospital. They found
so what did they find in your wife's heart? Or in
they found 2 blockages, one almost 100% closed. Yeah. And then another one was on its way about 90%. And asking her, do you have chest pains? Do you have dizziness? And they, but I didn't know what it was. And so, well, what it was is you got 2 hours, and we're going to see you in the emergency room. And it was just, I couldn't believe it, actually, how quick, how defined, and how, professional it was. She was in there taking care of it, and thank God. And, down in the lobby for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, and then up to recovery and all of that. And then, gosh, we're in the plane in 3 days. We stayed an extra day.
Praise God.
She's doing great. Yeah, it took a little bit, get back and get used to up the stairs, because we have a 2-story. So, getting that blood flow going. She was still feeling it, but gosh, yeah, it was amazing.
You could say they saved her life.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because it could have been on the way home. It could have been at any minute, because it was that bad.
Incredible.
And, yeah.
Yeah. So, Todd, it's amazing. It's the technical nature of what happened was that we have we do what's called a CCTA, which is basically cardiac tomography. So it makes a full 3D rendering of your whole cardiovascular system. The test takes about 30 minutes, of which roughly 23 or 24 of those minutes is just getting hooked up to the equipment, and then we have to run a what's called a PICC line or an IV, because we're going to run contrast to make sure that we can see it. Yeah. You're in the machine on basically for 3 passes. It's not claustrophobic at all. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to do the actual test itself. And then the really cool part about it is, by the time you get up off of the CT table and get your clothing back on, our cardiologist already has it rendering in the control room, and so you get to go sit in the control room, and he takes you right through it. Now, in Dottie's case, obviously it was a serious situation. We could see the blockage clearly on the on the screen, and so no need to even do a stress test at that point. I mean, we know that she's in trouble, and then it takes us 3-4 hours to get the team spooled up to get in the OR and to take care of what the issue is. But then, as he said, which is super cool, basically, what was it, Robert, 3 days later you guys were on the plane on the way home?
Yeah, we just had to do some rescheduling for the hotel, and that was helpful. Everybody's helping, and yeah, because we're going to and fro. Then got her to the hotel, rested a day.
And it's more that, by the way, statistically, it's somewhere around 12 to 15% of the population is walking around at any one time, not really presenting symptoms. We just, I don't know if Robert knows this or not, we just had this happen with one of our golf ambassadors, Fred Funk, who won 29 times worldwide, won the Players Championship, Ryder Cupper, really well-known kind of household name. He was down, we were going to inject his knee. He was having some osteoarthritis in his knee. And I said, hey, Fred, while you're here, this is a professional athlete, right? Has been for 30 years, walks 5 miles every day, right? And I said, hey, while you're here, why don't we pop you in the machine and let's take a quick look. 97% blocked in his Widowmaker on one side, 75% on the other. 3 hours later, he was in the OR for it was a multi-part procedure because of where his blockage was. It was a very technical procedure. So the first pass took about 3.5 hours. I left him about 12:45 in the morning in the ICU. We wanted to keep him in ICU overnight just to make sure. And then we waited 2 days to put in the other 2 stents. So he got a total of 3 stents. Now has had an echo cardiogram. He's clear. He's got the heart of a 45-year-old, 35-year-old now.
Praise God. Praise God. And I don't, if he weren't on that regimen of walking 5 miles a day and his heart wasn't that healthy, I think he'd be gone.
He would.
Phenomenal. And this is something that people can do, either separately come down to Puerto Vallarta, get that done separately, or get it done, obviously, then when they're down there with the stem cells. And this is something I think people have to do at this age. And one thing I've learned, Steve, I mean, there's a lot of things I've learned from you. My concept of medicine in Mexico was completely screwed up. The hospital you guys are next door to is utterly world-class. I've had CAT scans done there, and Robert, you probably had that same discovery of, wow, these people are incredible professionals. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I say, it was kind of interesting when we first got there and going through the hyperbolic chamber and back and forth on my account. And before we found out about Dottie's situation, but, and just learning, everybody's there to help. Everybody's there to just make sure your visit and what you're there for, that it just goes off without a hitch. Everybody's on time. They got Caesar and they got Hector. They
Caesar's he is my brother. Yeah. He is so cool.
We become friends.
Yeah.
I go down there. It's like a friendly, atmosphere. It really is. It's very open. It's very, we'll talk about anything,
Well, when I was going through my SEAL Fit training, I go down there and these guys got me a dowel filled with sand. I go to the hotel room, it's sitting there, and Cesar goes care of all that. Never had them late for arrival. And Steve, I hear all the time from surgeons up here or people who are speaking on behalf of surgeons. It was really frustrating to me because they'll tell me, no, Todd, we do the same exact thing. Like I've had surgeons say they don't culture stem cells. That doesn't happen. We do the same exact thing in America. What I did for you is your bone marrow stem cells. Same thing. And I answer this the way I can. But Steve, and I don't think these guys, I don't even think they're lying. I just think they don't know. But it is very different in Mexico because my understanding is you can't do this up here. Correct, Steve?
Yeah, that's right. So the FDA has a prohibition against expansion of stem cells in the United States. So what there are some orthopedic surgeons that use what are called allografts, which in essence are just it's called less than manipulated is what the actual verbiage is by the FDA. And what that means is they can take part of the cord and they take kind of like a slice, and then they can't manipulate it at all. They just have to then try to inject that. There's several issues with that. One of them is that they never get to test the material because there's not enough of the material
no thanks
to do that, right? And it has to travel, and those cells don't like to travel. So we are one of only 3 facilities in the whole hemisphere that have an actual laboratory on site in our facility where we have chain of custody of those cells all along the way. And there was a point made earlier that I want to emphasize, and that is that I carry all 17 specialties on staff. So neurologist, cardiologist, endocrinologist, urologist, all of them. And we do that on purpose because we're more than a stem cell clinic. That, advanced orthobiologics, which is really what that is we do a lot of, but we also do a lot of the other stuff, right? So there's an international standard that people should know about, and that is that outside the US and Canada, it's PT first, so physical therapy first. If we can't fix this issue of physical therapy, stem cells second. If we can't fix it with stem cells, then third is a manual fix, right? So Robert will have the luxury of doing kind of all 3, if you will, with us.
Whatever it takes.
So later we'll do the manual fix that's necessary on the knee itself as well. But people need to understand that we're just a platform is all we are. We're a hospital, regulated hospital. We are a specialty hospital inside the Hoya General Hospital, right? So we're held to the same standard as any hospital would be. And I think you guys are making the point that it's like walking into Seattle or Scottsdale or Los Angeles or any major city. You'd see a major health institution that's held to all those kind of same standards.
That's exactly what I felt. But it's standards plus that, because you put a premium on guest interactions and ambassadors and friendliness and cleanliness and even aesthetics. I mean, and that matters. You're hanging out in the lobby. You even have magazines out there that are within a day old, not like a year old Reader's Digest. I don't even know. Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to see walking down the hall.
No. I mean,
in our facility.
No. And some professional athletes we don't name because their sport doesn't like them down there. But yeah, professional golfers, celebrities, and then just running into great people you become friends with. Yep. Listeners to the show, viewers to the show. I love it. So I'm going to be down there in April, and maybe bringing a friend with me. Then my friend Zach Abraham and I, Steve, we decided on a date. I'll get to you. We're going to come down there in June. We're going to come in and do shows. So if that works for the timing on your knee thing, I'd love to come and give you a hug. And let's just praise God for saving Dottie's life. I think Steve will be the first to admit you steward the things God invented. You didn't invent stem cells. You just steward them. So praise God and tell her I'm so glad she's living, and appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on, Steve. Can't wait to see you in April. And hey, Robert, dude, thank you
so much, Todd. Yeah, good to meet you this way. Someday I'll get to Idaho.
I can tell right now God intends for us to have a big man hug, so that's going to happen. I like the all right, guys. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Good to see you.
See ya.